Welcome back. This is the third video focusing on Marx's perspective on conflict theory. In the last video, we ended with the question, how does the bourgeoisie get away with it, all of that exploitation? How come we don't object to the injustices of the system and rebel? The answer lies in the creation of what is called false consciousness. False consciousness is the gap between the realities of the economic structure, what Marx calls the substructure, and our beliefs about the way things work, what he calls the superstructure. The superstructure represents everything about our society other than the economic system. In other words, the ruling class creates ideologies that serve to hide that exploitation, to mask it. Basically, our cultural ideologies, our values, our beliefs, and institutions serve to hide the economic injustices occurring in the economic system, which means that most people don't feel like they are being exploited. Most people exist in a state of what is called false consciousness. They are unaware of the fact that they are being exploited. Marx is famous for saying that, quote, the ideas of the ruling class are, in every age, the ruling ideas. So whatever those in power define as important becomes important in our society, whether it be a definition of gender, sexuality, race, or just fashion. All of these things, from a Marxian perspective, serve to distract us away from what is much more fundamentally important, which is the fact that we are being exploited for our labor. Let's use charity as an example of an ideology. We think of charity as a good thing in our society, helping the poor. However, the assumption that charity solves the problem of poverty is an ideology created consciously or not by the ruling class. It allows people to feel better because they're participating in charity and they know that charity will help those at the bottom of society, but it does nothing to eliminate exploitation. It just helps to make people feel better. It maintains the status quo by making people passive and accepting of the way things are. Again, it distracts our attention away from the harsh economic injustices that cause poverty in the first place. Now, I'm not saying that charity is bad. It's important, but we're fooling ourselves if we think that charity will solve the problems of social inequality. Another related example of false consciousness was, for Marx, religion, and this is where he was most famous. Religion tells us, and especially the poor, to look forward to a glorious afterlife. The poor will receive their reward in heaven. When we see the world around us, we're told it's God's will and that the meek will inherit the earth. And this has a twofold result. First, for the rich, it relieves any sense of guilt they may have over the plight of the poor. Just blame the victim. Second, for the poor, it serves to comfort them in their misery. Those who follow the Christian tradition, for example, are told that, quote, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And suddenly the poor feel better in their poverty-induced misery. For this reason, Marx is famous for calling religion the opiate of the people. Opium is a drug that deadens pain and pacifies people. According to Marx, religion has the same effect. Religion and all other aspects of our culture, education, popular culture, sports, politics, the arts, literally everything that makes up our society, create an illusion that distracts people from their real conditions in life. They give us false hope, false consciousness. Many ideologies in the capitalist system serve to divide the proletariat in order to maintain control over the population. In a very real sense, crime, poverty, bigotry, and prejudice all serve to maintain the status quo, and one of the ways they do this is by the method of divide and conquer. If we spend so much energy in conflicts over race, for example, we are blinded to the fact that exploitation is the underlying root of our problems. I'm going to show you a editorial cartoon that comes from the early 1900s. It includes some offensive language, but you'll see the point of including it there. This cartoon was from The Messenger, and it's dated August 1919. What it demonstrates is how the bourgeoisie actually promote racism in order to divide and conquer the proletariat. The proletariat includes people of multiple races, and the bourgeoisie are terrified by the fact that they are outnumbered by those who are part of the proletariat. So if they can divide the proletariat and get them fighting with one another based on racism, for example, then that gives them power over the proletariat. It helps to preserve their position, the status quo in society. Turning this around, from a Marxian perspective, one way, an important way, a crucial way to fight racism is actually to bring the workers together across racial lines and to see racism itself as an ideology that is promoted by those who are a part of the bourgeoisie in order to oppress everybody. Now, if you can divide the proletariat, they'll be so busy with their infighting that they'll fail to address or even see the causes of their problems, the foundation of the whole mess, economic exploitation. Because of the ideologies they create, blame moves away from the ruling class. Marx proposes that social philosophy should expose the illusions underlying these ideologies. In effect, Marx, through his social criticism, is grabbing us by the shoulders and saying, "Wake up, people." He's trying to shake us from our false consciousness by promoting the development of class consciousness. Class consciousness is an awareness of the illusions and ideologies created by the elite. Again, the job of the sociologist is to expose these ideologies for what they are. So to rip away the curtain and highlight the exploitation that is at the root of the entire system. In other words, the solution to the injustices in the economic system, to class conflict, and to false consciousness is to make the workers, the proletariat, aware of their common situation, regardless of differences in politics, race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, and so on. So Marx's goal was to unite the proletariat by making them aware of their common situation. It's this kind of solidarity that is essential for social and economic revolution. Only after we are united in our class consciousness will it be possible to take action and change or revolutionize the system. Only then will it be possible to overthrow the status quo, the power elite, the injustices in the capitalist system of exploitation, and move history. This was Marx's ultimate goal, and it's beautifully captured in the slogan, "Workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains."